Welcome to Coffee and Popcorn, where we bring you the most striking stories from around the world. Today, we've got 8 heartbreaking short stories to share with you from the world of Reddit. There's a lot of cheating, lying, and confusion, so grab yourself a coffee and a bowl of popcorn so we can get into it.
I have a moral dilemma. One of my used-to-be close friends, who we'll call Layla, cheated on her fiancé and she used me to cover for her. I had no idea about what she was doing. Long story short, my now ex-friend told me to say that she was with me for a sleepover, rather than telling her fiancé that she was having a spa night with her sister. You see, her fiancé is a little controlling when it comes to money, so I thought they'd be no harm in letting them have a sister's night, being a good friend and all. I picked up my ex-friend from her house and watched her say goodbye to her fiancé, giving him a kiss as he told us to enjoy our night. Layla thanked me for helping her and showed me the beautiful place where she and her sister would be staying. She even shared an Uber ride with me when she went to meet her sister. It wasn't until months later that she confessed to me that she actually spent that time in a hotel with her fiancé's best friend. I reluctantly said that I wouldn't say anything, but that the affair had to stop. I was beyond furious. She used me to cheat on her fiancé, and she knows that I never would have gone along with it if I knew what she was doing. For months, I couldn't look at her fiancé without feeling guilty. I felt more guilty than she did. She continued to cheat on him, and not just with her fiancé's best friend, but with multiple guys. This made me slow down contact with them both because it made me feel disgusting. It's been over a year since this happened, but it still keeps me up at night because her fiancé doesn't have a clue about what she's doing. Layla's financially dependent on him, so people always tell me to stay out of it, but I can't help feel a responsibility to tell him before they get married.
I understand why OP might not think it's her place to say anything, but her ex-friend's fiancé deserves to be with someone who won't treat him like that. It'd be a shame for him to find out 10 years into a marriage that his wife's been sneaking around behind his back. The heartache would be unimaginable. While boyfriend and girlfriend breakups are tough, going through a divorce is much worse, and the consequences can be severe. If OP's ex-friend can't be faithful to her partner, she doesn't deserve him. Anyway, let's see what unfolded in the comments.
This is a stupid name says, "Yes. Please tell that poor guy before he marries her. It'll break his heart even more and possibly destroy him financially if he ends up having to divorce a woman who was never faithful to him. Even if you were still best friends with her, you should tell him. She lied, used you for her disgusting affair, and ruined your friendship, so you have no reason to keep her secret. I'd argue that if you keep this secret, you're just as bad as her. Don't let a cheater bring your character down. You need to be able to look yourself in the mirror every day. For what it's worth, if I was your boyfriend and I found out that you knew your friend was having an affair and you covered for her, I'd be out the door." Combination Calm says, "Why do you need to stay out of it? Because she's financially dependent on him. So, because your ex-friend can't sort herself out, she should be allowed to use this man and abuse his trust. The fact that she's cheating on him with his best friend while being financially dependent on him is a new low. And the fact that everyone seems to know about it but hasn't told him is disturbing. Please tell him. It's been a year already and she still continues with this behavior. She's never going to change. Stop this before he throws money down the drain on a wedding and possibly an expensive divorce. Tell him. You can do it anonymously. Give him details that show you're for real and that other people know. Hopefully he'll take it from there. You can also speak with him directly and own up to knowing everything. And let him know that you were used and that you told her to end it, and when she didn't, you distanced yourself from her. Remember, this man's owed the truth. She's cheating on him, exposing him to STDs, and using him financially. Do the right thing."
Imagine being in a room with a bunch of people who all know that your partner's cheating on you, and while you sit there talking about how wonderful and amazing your boyfriend or girlfriend is, they're all looking at you with pity, thinking, if only this poor soul knew what was going on behind his back. There's no way someone would do this to a partner they love and respect. It's a very humiliating experience.
In this situation, I'm the other woman, but I ended it with him today. I know that what I did was wrong and could hurt a lot of people, and while a part of me is angry with him, I'm more angry at myself. I didn't know that he was seeing someone at the beginning, but even when I found out, I still ended up sleeping with him. I know that I'm in the wrong just as much as him, and I need to face this part of myself so I can deal with my issues, the ones that led me here. If I'm being honest though, I did want to be the one he chose to be with, and I hoped he would end his relationship so we could be together. I know this is ridiculous, because if he would cheat with me, he'd cheat on me. A part of me wants to tell his girlfriend before she moves across the ocean to be with him. She plans to move this year. I keep telling myself that I'd want someone to tell me if I was in her position. I mean, she's about to make a life-altering decision to be with an unfaithful man. I'm hesitating because I'm not 100% sure that I'm doing this for the right reason, and I don't want to make a decision out of anger or jealousy. I've been good friends with this guy for years, so I know that telling his girlfriend this will end our friendship. I think I know the right answer, but please tell me what you think. The good, the bad, and the ugly. I'd appreciate it.
Regardless of what you think your reasons are, his fiancé deserves to know. She's about to move across the world to be with someone who doesn't respect her enough to be honest. What happens if she finds out that he cheated in the future? Now this woman's in a place where she might not have any family or friends, which could make her feel trapped in the relationship. At the very least, she deserves to know what happened so she can make an informed decision. That's enough from me, though. Let's see what our good friends down in the comments had to say about this.
My waves meet your shore says, she deserves to know before she's isolated and with no support system on the other side of the country. Believe me, she'll find out eventually without you telling her, but by then it might be too late. I've read many stories from women who've moved across the country or to a foreign land for their husbands, only to find out 2 children later that he's been cheating throughout their entire relationship. They have no friends or family in this new place to help them when their world falls apart, so please tell her. She deserves to know that the man she's committed to has probably been sleeping with other people for a while. Combination Calm says, it doesn't matter what your motive is, just tell her. She deserves to know before she moves her life and becomes stuck. Just don't take him back when he comes crawling to you because his first choice didn't work out. Either way, your friendship should be over. You can't be friends with someone who treats you like this. Also, get some counseling to figure out why you would allow yourself to become an affair partner, sleeping with a man you knew was in a relationship. Twisted Heart says, what's wrong with people like you? Regardless of you and him, this girl did nothing to deserve the world of pain you two put her in, and you did so without a single thought for her well-being. If you and him were friends for years, I don't buy that you didn't know he was in a relationship. If that's the truth and you didn't know, then you were never great friends if there was such a massive secret between you. It sounds like you're still being selfish with your reasons for wanting to tell her, but ultimately she deserves to know that 2 people just blew apart her world. She'll have to deal with all the trauma that comes with that, all because your own selfish needs matter more. I genuinely hope she's strong enough to overcome what you've both done to her. And if he comes back to you, just remember that you were his second choice.
It's never a good idea to get involved with someone who's in a relationship. You never know how the partner who's being cheated on will react if they find out. Love makes people do the craziest things, and you don't want to be on the wrong side of that emotion if things go bad.
My girlfriend went to a bar a few days ago with some friends, and she was out all night because she was staying over with them. I know that while she was there, she met someone and they started talking. She must have felt guilty for talking to this guy because she told me that she thought about cheating on me. Since then, she's kept this guy hidden from me. But I recently found out they're still talking. I asked her why she didn't tell me, and she just said, I didn't see why it would matter. Not long ago, she got into a fight with one of her friends. The friend who told me that she'd been hanging out with this new guy. My girlfriend still won't come clean about what happened. What should I do?
Anytime your partner's hiding something from you, it's rarely for a good reason. And for her to say that she thought about cheating is crazy. Why would anyone want to introduce that sort of doubt into their relationship? If your partner's doing something that makes you uncomfortable, and they continue to do so after you've made them aware of it, they're not for you. You should be with someone who respects your boundaries. How else are you going to have a healthy relationship? But let's see what our friends down in the comments had to say.
Chancellor says, you simply break up. You would never have known the truth had it not been for the friend. Your girlfriend's still unwilling to compromise at this point, and that means she won't. There's nothing you can do to force her, so it's best to hurt yourself by breaking up versus hurting yourself more by staying with her, trying to salvage a dead relationship on your own, especially while she's actively killing it. Pancho Villa says, well, if you feel like you have enough proof, tell her it's over and to enjoy talking to and hanging out with the other guy. The fact that she told you she considered cheating is a big red flag, and the fact that she's still talking to this guy, Says that she's either considering it and waiting for a justified time where she can feel okay about having sex with him, or she already has. She already gave you a half-truth, and since you bought it, she knows she can continue. West Coyote says, break up. She's keeping you in the clutch while pursuing someone else. If you live together, ghost her around the house and walk past her like she isn't there. Don't do anything for her and then break it off. You could also talk to another girl, and when she gets mad, throw her own psychology back in her face. She's already cheated emotionally. I guarantee you that it's been physical too, but it'll be like pulling teeth until she trickles the truth.
I wouldn't recommend doing any of what this last commenter said. OP's a grown adult, not a teenager with raging hormones. If you're not happy with your relationship, just leave. There's no need to play games like a bunch of children.
I've been with my wife for 14 years, and I recently found out she's been talking with another guy, someone she dated for a few weeks before I met her. This all came to light when he called her one day, and I saw his name pop up on her phone. Before now, I never knew this guy existed. My wife said they've been in contact for years, but they don't talk often. Recently, he's been messaging her a lot more though, because he's got health issues, and his wife left him, so he needs someone to talk to. I think they mostly talk through messages rather than over the phone. I was uneasy when she told me about this, and my main concern is that for 15 years, she's been in contact with a former partner, and I had no idea. I said that I needed time to process what I was hearing, and she was annoyed at my uneasiness. She even insisted that there was nothing to process. She also justified all this by saying they were friends before they dated and were friends afterwards, so they've only ever been friends for the most part. Can I trust her?
I don't think anyone should ridicule their partner's concerns, especially before fully understanding them. For OP's partner to hide someone from him for so long is super suspicious. Usually people only do things like this if they know their partner wouldn't like it. Personally, I'm not a fan of the whole being friends with your ex thing. I don't think there's any reason for it. You and this person had something. It didn't work out, so move on. It's unfortunate that her ex is struggling with health issues, but there's no need for OP's wife to act in a way that would jeopardize her relationship. Anyway, those are my quick thoughts. Let's see what people had to say in the comments.
Mick Uru says, if you're confident that your wife has never mentioned him, there's probably a reason for that, and it's probably not good. I'm usually against looking through a significant other's phone, but this is one of those situations where I'd ask if she's comfortable showing you her discussions with this guy. If her reaction is anything but immediately handing her phone to you, it's probably time to bail. People who have nothing to hide have nothing to hide. And if your explanation of the circumstances is correct, your wife sounds like she has something to hide. At any point in time, my husband would be welcome to review my boring text messages, and vice versa. You said that recently that this guy's been messaging your wife more because he's got health issues. His wife left him and he needs someone to talk to. If me or my husband had a friend going through a tough time, we'd be telling each other about it. Flowin' Mountain says, your wife's being unfair, secretive, and in all this time, she didn't tell you about this man. Is this man her plan B or something? Nah, this really gives me bad feelings in my gut. You need to communicate with her that it sounds like she's having an emotional affair, which she knowingly tries to hide from you. Sarcastic Guru says, you need to tell her that she's destroyed your trust, and now you're questioning your marriage. You have to be firm and make it clear that this is a boundary for you. She omitted this for 15 years, and no one calls to talk to someone they barely know about their wife leaving them and health problems. That's sketchy as hell. No one in a committed relationship does this. You should read the messages before she deletes them. Also, look at your provider's phone records to see how often they're calling and texting. She needs to realize how inappropriate this is. Why would this guy call her? No one calls someone they barely have a relationship with to discuss these things.
Relationships are all about trust, and when two people lose that, they lose everything. I hope OP can find the answers he's looking for. I mean, he deserves to have a partner who'll be honest with him.
Me and my boyfriend have been dating for 7 months. Everything's been great between us. But in the last 2 months, we've been less sexually active, and it seems like he's on his phone a lot more. He's even semi-hiding it from me. I recently caught him in a lie, and I don't know what to think about it. He said he was outdoor dashing, but I followed him to a girl's apartment. I confronted him about it, and he said he lied to me because his ex-girlfriends always freaked out whenever he wanted to hang out with his female friends, so he lied to avoid all that. I talked to the girl he went to see, and she was adamant about nothing going on between them. She said they were just friends. Later that night, when we were home trying to talk things through, I asked if I could look through his messages. If he had nothing to hide, why would it be an issue, right? He refused to show me, saying they were on Snapchat and that the messages get deleted after being opened. I want to believe him, but everything seems wrong about this. Any thoughts?
Whenever someone's partner is acting shady, naturally it's going to make them question things. In this case, it sounds like OP's partner is spinning her a web of lies. Once someone starts lying to you about where they're going and who they're with, you can't trust anything that comes out of their mouth. While sex isn't everything in a relationship, if you feel like something's off or has changed, you're within your right to address it so you can figure out what's wrong. Now that you've heard from me, let's take a deep dive into the comments.
Hungry Blood says, he's been lying and sneaking around behind your back for a reason. You caught him, and the fact that he won't show you his phone is confirmation that he's up to shady stuff. Cut him loose now, because you can't trust him. 7 months isn't that long, and he's already lying. Save yourself the heartache and end this now. This is a stupid name says, he's lying and cheating. You're only crazy if you believe his ridiculous story, and of course his affair partner is going to lie and cover for him. You saw him lie and go to a woman's house with your own 2 eyes. He won't let you see his phone, and his exes probably freaked out when he hung out with his female friends because he's a cheater. Dump him, go no contact, and never look back. Yorkie Mom says, I'm going to be the odd woman out here and say, if I'd been dating someone for 7 months and they asked to see my phone, especially if I learned that they followed me, I'd say no too. Frankly, I would end a short-term relationship with someone with those kind of trust issues. If you don't trust him, end it. It won't get any better.
When you're in a relationship, you shouldn't give your partner reasons to distrust you. While a lot of people have trust issues, especially these days, I don't think most people would feel the need to look through their partner's phone unless they gave them a reason to. The last commenter said that she would end the relationship if their partner followed her and then asked to see her phone. But in this case, OP's partner lied about where he was going. It's not unreasonable for OP to suspect that her partner's sleeping with other women and hiding it from her. Her mistrust is 100% justified in my opinion.
This is my crappy story about how my girlfriend of 6 years cheated on me and then tried to blame me for it. At the time, she was 23 and I was 25. During the last year we were together, she was trying to get into police school. This was at the start of the year. She got accepted, and at the same time, she got a good job offer in another city. She told me that she doesn't know what to do. She could either work and get good pay or go to school. I supported her in taking the job because up until then, I was the one supporting us financially. She soon moved to the other city to start work, but I was still in our old home as I wasn't ready to move and change job yet. I wanted to save some money first. I visited her every weekend, and every time I saw her, she'd tell me that she loved her job and wanted me to move there with her. While I was visiting her one time, I met her coworkers. They were nice, but there was one woman she worked with who always kept hitting on me, but I shut her down every time. I would tell her that I loved my girlfriend and would never do anything to hurt her. Well, let's fast forward a little. I'm back in our hometown for work, and I wasn't able to visit my girlfriend for a month. One day, while I was working, she messaged me saying that we need to talk. The talk went something like this. She said, "I'll only ask this once. Have you cheated on me?" I said, "No, I would never." Then she said, "Okay, next question. How do you explain why I have an STD?" At that very moment, I broke down, but then I was like, no, she couldn't. She wouldn't do that to me. Not when her last boyfriend cheated on her. She then went on to say that there's no way she could have an STD for 6 years and not notice. After that, she hung up and wouldn't respond to my calls or texts. I got in touch with the one girl I slept with before me and my girlfriend got together, and asked if she or her boyfriend have had any STDs, and if they could get tested. I was on really bad terms with these people, but they agreed to get tested anyway, and I got tested too. A couple of days later, they messaged me, letting me know they were negative. I was negative too. I got back in touch with my girlfriend and asked her the same questions. She told me that she didn't cheat on me, and my response was that the only way she could have got an STD is by having sex with someone else. I hung up after that. It turns out that the girl who was always flirting with me at her workplace told my girlfriend that we hooked up, which is why she went out and slept with another guy. That's how she got the STD.
This is wild. Rather than OP's girlfriend confronting him about his apparent cheating, she immediately believed her coworker. This isn't to say you should expect a cheater to be honest with you when you confront them, but you should at least bring it up to them, just in case you're wrong. A part of me believes that OP's partner was already hooking up with this new guy. Or at least wanted to, she just needed an excuse. I'm just guessing here though, because there's too much about this situation that we don't know. Let's see if anyone in the comments section had any insights.
Amir Coder says, if your girlfriend of 6 years has more trust in a random girl, believes her word more than yours without evidence, and then proceeds to cheat on you according to what she heard, she's a crappy person and you dodged a bullet. It's perfect timing since you're not married and don't have any kids with her. Congrats, never talk to her again. Sad Elevator, the OP, replies and says, yeah, but she wasn't like that before her new job. I think it changed her. I'm living happy now and glad that she moved, so I don't need to see her. Amir Coder responds, again, if someone's that shallow that they can change this fast and forget a 6-year-long relationship when there's a bit of distance between you, you're lucky that you didn't risk your life for her and didn't get married. Many people get to this point after marriage and kids, and that's the real pain. Although it'll be hard for you to move on after all these years, it will be worth it. Personally, I think the years spent in a relationship mean much more to men than women. Women are more likely to forget everything about you, especially when they meet someone new. I still kind of love my first girlfriend, even after 15 years. We broke up 10 years ago. I married my wife 7 years ago, but I still think about the good memories I have of my ex. But my ex, she barely remembers my face, even though she always said that she was more in love than I was.
You'll hear me say this time and time again. The workplace is where most cheating happens, and office spaces are the worst for it. The number of affairs I've seen go on at work is shocking. It's part of the reason why I'm not for this work husband and work wife thing. It seems innocent on the surface, but emotional attachments like that are dangerous, especially when things are rocky at home.
Me and my husband are both 29. We've been married for almost 3 years, but we've been together for 5. He told me yesterday that he's non-monogamous, and even explained that he doesn't fully know what that means. In any case, he says that he doesn't necessarily fit into any of the polyamorous definitions, and feels trapped in our relationship because he can't have deep connections with other people, which is what he wants. We both grew up Mormon, with very black and white thinking. He always says that he feels guilty for looking at other women and playing out fantasies in his head, but honestly, I think this is fairly normal. My husband's very affectionate towards men and women, and I've often tried to set boundaries with women and his physical affection. We've had a lot of trauma in our relationship, and it's made it hard for me to trust him. Still, I don't think that he's cheated on me yet. My husband expressed that he wants to be able to go to lunch with our mutual girlfriends, and maybe even cuddle with them if that's where it leads. He's even told me that he's curious about getting sexual with them. During this wild conversation, he also let me know that he'd be okay with me having a girlfriend. My husband has a therapist that he's doing a 6-month mentorship program with. Every month, they do weekend trips away with the group. It was around the time he started seeing this therapist that these new ideas started to manifest. Recently, he started reading polyamorous books that this therapist recommended. Funnily enough, his therapist is polyamorous too. My husband claims not to have known this and says that she didn't sway him in any way. It's just how he is. What do I do? Do I try and support his freedom, or do I end things? He gives me all the freedom I want and says he wants to be loved the same way.
This whole situation sounds super sus. While there's no way for me to know for sure, I'd say that OP's partner's already sleeping with this therapist. Or at a minimum, he wants to. It's also possible that OP's husband has his eye on somebody else and wants OP to give him the green light so he can have his fun. When you're so many years into a relationship and somebody suddenly wants to make it open, you have to wonder what their motives are. I say this because there's a good chance that they're already doing the very thing they're coming to you about. But let's see what the great people had to say in the comments.
Mars Queen says, I'm sorry, but it sounds like he's full of crap. It sounds like he's either cheated on you or plans to cheat on you, but feels guilty, so he's brought this up as a way to test the waters. Best case, you're on board with his announcement. Worst case, you aren't, after which he'll most likely cheat on you anyway and blame his non-monogamous sexuality on you. After all, he told you about it. He specifically said that he'd be cool with you getting a girlfriend, aka someone he can screw to and get away with. Test him. Say, if we aren't going to be monogamous, I'm going to start dating other guys, and potentially having sex with them. You said I could have a girlfriend, but I'm leaning more towards getting a boyfriend. I'm willing to bet that he's going to freak the hell out and tell you that it's not okay, in which case you should contemplate exactly what you're willing to open your marriage up to. If this isn't what you want, you need to start preparing for separation, because he'll cheat on you if you decline his ideas. Beta Boy Alpha says, I had a situation like this with my ex. She was too scared to admit that she didn't want to be with me anymore, so she began testing the waters of us having an open relationship. I told her that I wasn't comfortable with it, and from the start I wanted a monogamous relationship. It ended with her cheating on me. Unless both parties are okay with it, typically you can't go from a monogamous relationship to an open relationship, since the bond was originally formed as a monogamous one. He's testing you right now, and will likely seek companionship with someone else since he's dissatisfied with the relationship you have. He's too scared to admit this, or is fearful of hurting you. In the end, breaking up hurts, and he's trying to ease that pain for himself, but if he continues this way, he's going to hurt you more. You need to confront him. Tell him that he's either fully committed to you or not. If not, couples counseling or divorce is the likely course of action.
Whenever someone wants to change the terms of your relationship, when you've been together for a while, it's a massive red flag. I hope OP and anyone else who might be going through something like this can figure it out sooner rather than later.
I'm 27, and I just brought up something to my partner that I was uncomfortable with. She's 33. Ever since we had this conversation, she's been giving me the silent treatment. It's been a few days now. We've been together 2 years, and things have got really bad lately. We've just decided to buy a home together, even though we've both had a lot happen regarding our families. My daughter was hospitalized, and her family lost a niece. We're close to closing a deal on the house, and it should be done within the next few days. My girlfriend attends a biker rally every year, which is her time to get wild and drunk. This has been a problem for her exes, and although it's not my cup of tea, I didn't have a problem with it. I did go to the rally with her last year, but I didn't care for some things like drawing unwanted attention and walking around topless. I left the biker scene a few years back, but it's still kind of her thing, and she was going long before I met her. Now, my girlfriend has a guy friend from out of state. He said he was going to the rally this year, and all of a sudden, she wanted to go again. I told her that I'm stuck packing because we need to be out of the house by the end of the month. Since I lost some time with my daughter due to her being hospitalized, I was expecting my partner to help me. I told her that I was upset and was nervous about her sharing a tent with a guy who's supposedly just a good friend. I know the tent layout, and there's only one queen-size air mattress, so she'd likely be sharing with him. Shortly after all this, she texted me saying, "Don't worry, he's not going anymore, and I am not going either." Since then, she's barely spoken to me and has quipped at me about the trip I'm taking to Europe with my son. She was originally supposed to come with us, but she never got her passport sorted. We've hardly spoken about anything, and her daughter, who I've taken on as my own because her dad's hardly in the picture, has a birthday coming up. We were supposed to get together, but now my girlfriend's saying, "Don't worry about it. I'll take her, you go pack." I said again, I want to be there for her birthday dinner. But she gave me the same response. "Don't worry, go pack." Am I missing something here? Did I overreact?
My stance on this will probably never change, but as far as I'm concerned, people shouldn't put themselves in situations that could compromise their relationship. If you genuinely care for, love, and respect your partner, I don't see why you'd do this. Whether or not OP's partner would have ended up having sex with this friend is beside the point. Maybe they don't hook up on the first night, or the second, or the third. But when people keep up this behavior for long enough, it's only a matter of time. Anyway, let's see what the people down in the comments had to say.
Avast says, "So she can't be bothered to help you move into the house you bought together, and she couldn't get excited enough about a trip to Europe with you. At least not enough to get her crap together and actually go. But she's so chuffed about this guy showing up to the biker rally that she can't wait to go and share an air mattress with him. Dude, you're the side piece. Buy out her half of the house and send her packing." Not your typical Chad says. Do not buy a house with this woman. She's being passed around the biker event like a groupie. Don't be naive. You know what goes on there. If her man isn't there, all of her orifices are free game. And not just for the guy friend she's sharing a tent with. He's pitching a tent all right, and she's servicing his tent pole. She's mad that you're calling out her bad behavior and wants to call it controlling like all cheaters do. Nah, don't buy a house with her. End the relationship and let her sleep with anyone she wants. You have no control over her if she's single, and you won't be jealous of whoever she stays with. Maybe you should stay away from women who are still stuck in the groupie biker life if you want a real partner. Or you should be at her side at the biker rally if you still like the lifestyle. If my wife so much as mentioned that she was thinking about staying overnight with another man, especially a stranger to me, I'd throw her stuff out the front door and tell her to get the hell out of my life. Guess what, though? My wife would never pull this kind of stunt because she respects me.
A lot of people in the comments are making assumptions about OP's wife, but no one knows for sure that she's sleeping around, so it's unfair to say that. For me, it's the general behavior that's concerning and what it could possibly lead to down the road. When you're building a life with someone, you want to make sure it's with someone who loves and respects you. I'd even go as far as to say that the respect element is more important. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Coffee and Popcorn, and I can't wait to see you on the next one.